Well. It is good to be back another week. This is the Coaching Corner, and I'm excited to be able to dive into it today with you. Several things to cover, a lot of ground to cover today for the Coaching Corner. But yeah. Let me just kind of settle in for a second and introduce myself a little bit as we get started, man. Let me tell you, there's one thing that I really want to ensure that you are aware of, and that is inactivity. Yes, is what we've been touching on. We've also been touching on try something new. Yes, we've been in that vein, trying something new. We use a quote from Dale Carnegie that said, "Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action, however, breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit home and think about it. Go out and get busy." And we talked about that last week. Really good quote from Dale Carnegie. But today I wanted to highlight a quote from C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis talks about is actually dealing with the realm of what is possible. What is actually possible? What is actually possible? And so C.S. Lewis says, "You never know what you can do until you try, and very few try unless they have to." Oh my, it's a flip of what we've been talking about. It's a flip of what we've been talking about in terms of getting out of your comfort zone, because the comfort zone is a space where greatness goes to die. Getting out of your own way, trying new things. In fact, scheduling it into your every day, every week rhythm, the opportunity, the responsibility to try something new. Yeah, trying something new when you don't have to means that you get a chance to orchestrate and dictate the terms around trying something new. But many of us, C.S. Lewis says, don't even try unless we have to. You never know what you can do until you try. And very few try unless they have to. Does that resonate with you today? That resonates heavy with me. That resonates heavy with me in my own life. That resonates heavy with me as a content coach. That resonates heavy with me as I think about the things that I have been putting off, the things that I have been delaying to do, because it's something outside of the norm. As somebody who struggles with OCD, wants everything to kind of function a certain way, I don't want it to change. I want it to continue the way that it has been, the way that I knew that it worked before. I want to continue down that path. And because I'm in that space, and maybe you aren't, maybe you don't suffer the way that I suffer. Maybe you always try something new. Maybe you're always pushing the envelope. Maybe you're constantly pushing past your known limitations so that you can experience what's on the other side. Maybe that's you. But for me, I recognize that if I am not intentional about taking a different route, about stopping and disrupting my schedule so that I can do something slightly different than my norm, I generally don't. Here's what a good friend of mine and mentor said to me. You actually don't know if you like something or dislike something until you've actually tried it. So for the person who sees the okra and says, "That's not good, I want nothing to do with it," you actually don't know whether you like it or not until you try it. And if you go into your trying it moment with a preconceived notion that I'm going to hate it, that notion becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's better to not try it with a preconceived notion than to try with the preconceived notion, because you will basically get the outcome that you already preordained. Somebody's not going to be okay with that, but that's all right. It's better to wait until you are a blank canvas, until you are saying, "I don't have a clue what it's like or what it's not like. I'm going to try it." Then you will have a natural and open response to what it is you're trying that's new. C.S. Lewis says, you never know. You are not cognizant. You cannot be certain of what you can do until you actually put one foot in front of the other and try. Until you make a move, until you get active and try. Listen, you don't know if you like burpees or not until you've tried them. And I want to be clear, many people don't like burpees, but they love the effect that burpees has on them. And that adds a whole other layer, a whole other component. That adds an entire other dynamic to be able to view this new thing from. Maybe I don't like it, but I like what it does. Maybe I don't like it, but I like its impact, its effect. Maybe I don't like it, but this activity is yielding a fruit, is yielding a result that I like. And so I continue to do this for this. It's almost like having a rock solid wife. C.S. Lewis says you cannot be certain that you don't like something until you try it. And he goes on to say that very few try unless they have to, unless they're forced to, unless they, oh my God, unless the circumstances have frustrated you into a position where you can't do anything else but to try something new. What I'm simply saying, these last few weeks in the Coaching Corner, we've been starting out this same way. What I'm simply saying is, don't wait until the circumstances and situations of your life force you into a space of uncomfortability where you have to try something new. Go out and seek that uncomfortability yourself under your own terms and try something new today. Try it scared, try it unsure, try it shaky, try it with a blank slate, with an open mind, but try, because you don't know what you can do or what you will like or what you will enjoy until you've tried it. My guy, Anthony T. Ladson, is in the chat, and his TIME acronym, do you know what it stands for? I took a look at it today. It stands for This Is My Experience. This is my experience. I love that. I love that, Anthony. Doc Ladson says, this is my experience. Time. This is my experience. You can't include something as part of your experience unless you've tried it. Unless you've given it a fair shot. I was talking to a coaching client. I said, we have implemented some changes last week. We've got to give those changes a good 2 months to see if it yields the fruit that we hope it yields before we shift and make another change. Because they had come back in this next coaching session wanting to make more changes on top of the changes that we made last week. And I'm saying to them, we've got to give the changes that we just implemented a fair shake, a fair chance to be able to go and assess and examine and review and innovate. We can't do that until we have the data, and we don't have enough content. We don't have enough experience to have the data to realistically and from an informed perspective make a change. Don't just try it for the sake of checking the box. Try it outside of the limelight without telling anyone. Try it and give it a fair opportunity while you are taking notes, while you are documenting your experience. Then you have data to inform, to back up your now held opinion. C.S. Lewis starts off our Coaching Corner this week by saying, you never know what you can do until you try. And very few try unless they have to. My name is Kirk Nugent, and this is the Coaching Corner, and we're going to dive right in. Listen. This is the Coaching Corner. This is the Coaching Corner. This is your midweek, in the middle of the middle, right? It's in the middle of Wednesday, which Wednesday is in the middle of the week. It's noon here in the Central Time Zone, which is the Lord's Time Zone. And my name is Kirk Nugent, also go by the Geek Speaker Preacher. And I believe that your live stream is your digital storefront, because there's no better way to go from busy and broke to peaceful and paid than for your ideal customer, your ideal people group, your target audience to see you do your thing live. And when they see you do your thing live, it drastically cuts down on that time frame it takes for them to know, like, and trust you. And why do we want people to know, like, and trust us? Because then that is fertile ground for you to serve them and serve them well in whatever capacity you find yourself, right? If you want to serve them from the perspective of functionality and productivity, like my good friend Florence Donald, then you have the opportunity to serve them when you've laid that groundwork. If you want to serve them well from the perspective of finances and getting your money right, like my good friend Don Daniel, then this practice, this vehicle of content creation and online video, and especially live streaming, helps to set the table for that, so that the value you have to provide does not fall on deaf ears. When they see you do your thing live, they're ready to work with you. And in the Coaching Corner, we step aside from the busyness of the week. You may not be a content creator. That's okay. You're welcome in the corner. You may not be a live streamer. That's okay. You're welcome in the corner. You may not be doing a thing with online video. That's okay. Every one of us should have, I dare say, must have, needs to have a coaching corner, a corner where you can pull aside from the cares and the busyness and the schedule and the frenetic pace and the deadlines and all the things that you have pulling at your attention, pulling at your mind, where you can sit in that corner on that three-legged chair and somebody's working on your shoulders. Somebody's, working on your leg. Somebody's whispering in your ear. Somebody's mopping your brow from the sweat. Somebody's taking care of that cut underneath your left eye. They're ensuring that you are getting the requisite and required rest, rejuvenation, and recovery that will launch you back into the fight on a deeper scale. Take your moment here in the Coaching Corner. We welcome your questions. Could be pertaining to whatever, could be pertaining to life in general. How do I structure my day? How do I redesign my business? How do I launch? I feel the need to do something slightly different. I want to try something new, like C.S. Lewis's quote reminds us today. Maybe you are already in the content field and you want to do something with StreamYard or EVMux or Ecamm or whatever it might be. Maybe you're just trying to put together the building blocks to create content. I don't know where you are. Put a question in the chat. We're going to get to it. That's what this space is all about. This is a space where we're going to pour back into you. We're going to be able to give you the tips, tricks, best practices, and sometimes even practical tutorials so that you can see your way through to the next battle, so that you can get yourself unstuck. And that's what we're all about here. I see my whole crew is showed up. We already have 10 people on the live, 5 likes, already, and we got somebody that hit the dislike button. That's okay. I'm a big boy. I can handle it. And let me just go ahead and catch a couple of these comments right quick. Let me see what we got. Oh, Tracy was with us from across the pond. She says, hey, Kirk and everyone. Dr. Bishara says, good afternoon from Brooklyn. Zoo, shame on you. All right, let me pause there when you step through to. All right, Shira Renee has been with us several times today, and I love that. Thank you so much, Shira. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. And Enea is here, one of the mod squad. Thank you so much for being with us. Tracy's also part of that mod squad, and we love it. Thank you so much for being with us today. And she's doing her good work in the chat. My good friend, Doc Anthony Ladson, is with us. I was just watching your video before I went live, and I looked at that acronym time, and I was like, this is my experience. Doc, let me just let you know now, I'm going to borrow it. I'm going to borrow that time acronym. Okay. This is my experience. Time. Golly, that's so good. You just don't even know how much that works with some of the presentations I've been setting up. I've got a big presentation coming up in the next 2 weeks at a major, large pastors conference that's going to be happening here in Huntsville. So I'm super excited about this time acronym. I'm going to use that, Doc. I'm letting you know. I'm going to credit you, but I'm going to use that one for sure. Gary Jones Jr. This is Dr. Gary Jones Jr. from Tennessee, Nashville to be specific. And he says, greetings, everyone. Greetings to you as well. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us today. Doc Bashara says, we got the bonus afternoon motivation and media today. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Oh, the mod squad is growing. I see Yolanda Bruce is with us today. Thank you so much for being with us, sis. Always good to have you in the chat doing your thing. Always good. I see everybody's kind of chatting back and forth with one another. Dr. Vibe shows. Listen, Dr. Vibe, Dr. Chachi actually sent me a video. Thank you for being on their show. I thought it was the nicest thing that one could ever do. I'm definitely going to incorporate that into some of my training and some of my coaching as well. When I coach people on what they should do for their live show, for their guests, and how they should do that post show experience. Oh man, definitely going to be including that. That is such a nice touch. And it was so heartfelt. The video that you and Dr. Tachi put together and sent through to me. I just cannot thank you enough for your good work, man, and for just allowing me an opportunity to come through and hang out and chat with your people. I see you have a question, and I'm going to star it, see if I can get through the rest of these comments real quick, and then we're going to come back to your question. Dr. Vibe, your question is the first one. Here we go. Let's see here. Let me see here. Hello, Dr. Vibe. Man, it's just a lot of good conversation in the chat. I see my good friend Florence Donald is here with us today. She says, hello, fam. Hello to you as well. All right, cool. Well, it looks like we're actually at a good point to be able to take that question, Dr. Vibe. He says, how long should an intro and outro for a live stream be? So it's all going to depend on what you want that live show experience to be like. And maybe it also will depend on what your repurposing structure is going to be. So I don't know if you've noticed, but for me, I've actually gone away from an initial countdown clock. What I do is I just go live and I immediately launch into a point of value, something that will grip somebody's attention, something that will help them know if they stay around, this is actually what they're going to be in for. If you notice many podcasts and pre-produced content, what they're doing now is as soon as you click on the video, they're showing you a snippet from the conversation, and they show that to you right up front at the beginning. And they're doing that for a very similar purpose to how I'm now structuring my live shows, because they want to capture your attention. They want to give you that sneak peek, that snippet, that bite-sized chunk that lets you know, man, there's gold here. And I'm going to just go ahead and buckle in for the long ride, depending on how long your show is. Let's say you have a half hour to an hour show. You want an intro can be anywhere from 7 to 12 seconds. I don't recommend it being, okay, an intro, sorry. So I'm thinking of YouTube videos. 7 seconds is generally what I recommend for like an actual produced YouTube video. If you're going to have one of those things where your logo spins around and does a backflip or whatever, you only want to have that for about 7 seconds. For an intro, I would say that you wouldn't want it to be any more than 30 seconds. And you would want to place it in the show where it makes the best sense. So like today, for example, somebody may come in right now, and I'm going to say the quote that we touched on from C.S. Lewis as we opened up the show. You never know what you can do until you try, and very few try unless they have to. That's from C.S. Lewis. And for those that are joining me right now, you're going to have to scrub backward to get that value at the beginning of the show, because we went hard on that quote at the beginning of the show. And so what that does, again, for repurposing, you have this clip. Think about the way that, how are you structuring your live show? And if you've structured it in a way that you're going to be able to get some defined pieces from it, at the beginning. So with Morning Motivation, I start by kind of just sharing a little bit about what to expect. And then I greet you guys in the chat, play the bumper video, and then I go into the portion where I know I'm going to repurpose. That's where I share the quote of the day. I share my insights and perspectives, play another bumper video, and we go from there. The way I do this one, however, the idea is I have the least amount of people watching right there at the beginning of the show. And this is why the countdown clocks are so popular, because a lot of people are like, I'll let the countdown do the work of getting people to come. That's when they get the notification that we're live. That's when they're going to click in and they'll know, okay, it's about to start. I haven't missed anything. I was a big proponent of the countdown clock. I still do countdown clocks depending on the situation and scenario, and maybe it's a client project. But for my shows, I have gone away from a countdown clock. I still have an intro for the show. And what I do is I go live knowing that first few minutes of the live, I have the least amount of people watching. And I take that as an opportunity to really flesh out what it is I want to share today. Boom, here is the quote. I've been talking to you guys about getting out of your comfort zone. We talked last week about inactivity being a different address of the comfort zone. And some people thought that was something different than being in the comfort zone, you see. And then this week, we're talking about getting out of your own way and trying something before the situations and circumstances of your life force you to try to do something, because that's what C.S. Lewis's quote is all about. So I take some time to really unpack that thing right there at the beginning. And after I've unpacked it, that's when I hit them with the intro. And then we go into the regular show. Hey, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I feel like that's the best format that will capture the attention, even on replay. I want to be clear on this, especially on replay, when people click on your video and there is no music, there's no countdown, and they're just, boom, you're right there and you're talking to them. They're like, whoa, this is, I'm already in. You have about 7 seconds on YouTube, right? Long form content. People know what they're clicking into when they click into long form content. You still have about 7 seconds to get there. And if you don't even have a chapter marker that takes them past the countdown clock, it's a challenge to be able to really capture their attention with a counter on the screen and music playing. Or it's a challenge to capture their attention when all they're seeing is an intro video that is, pictures of you and, maybe clips from your show, different things that are happening. You got 7 seconds to capture that attention. So we want to make sure that you're starting with content that will help to keep people locked in. I don't mind playing an intro video for 20, 30 seconds after I've delivered significant and immense value. You see what I'm saying? So such that people have already hit the like button before we even go anywhere from there. So I thank you for your question, and I hope that I've done justice in responding to it. I see you're responding to my earlier comments. Dr. Vibe says, we would like to have you back if you're interested and available. I'm always interested, and I would definitely love to come back. So let's make that happen. Dr. Bashar says, I've made a commitment to go live every Tuesday until the end of the year. Just finished the first month with the repurposing of the shorts from the live shows. My online footprint is taking off. Come on, Doc. Come on. Listen, we take these as well. I'm starting this one as well. This is what this space is all about. This space is not just for us to be able to ask our questions and to gain feedback. And yes, it's for that, but it's for us to share our wins. It's for us to be a community. It's for us to be like, yo, remember I talked to you about this and this and this? Y'all, this is what's happening. And Doc Bashara says, my online footprint is taking off, and I'm super excited about that. We celebrate with you, sir. We celebrate with you. We're on this journey with you, and I'm excited about that, man. That's so dope. That is so dope. Yesterday's show, I realized my mic wasn't plugged in, though. I have to follow my checklist every time. See, this is what happens. This is what happens when you go back and review. Because if you didn't watch back yesterday's show, you would never have even realized that your mic wasn't plugged in. You never get a chance to review until you actually done. You can't count it as experience that you have gone through unless you've actually gone back to review the experience and draw the value from it. So that's gold. And now you have this thing in your mind that says, I never want that to happen again. And you can make jokes about this. You're like, yo, you remember I went live that time and my mic wasn't even plugged in? Yeah, that's why I have my checklist. That's the reason why I always go through and use it as almost like a cheat code, as you're up, down, left, right, A, B, start. You use it in that way so that you can always arrive at the place that you want to be. Is my camera straight? Is everything clear? Let me go through my scenes. When I press this button, does it do what I intend for it to do, or is it going to do something else? All of those pieces are what you want from that particular experience, and I think you've learned from that experience, and I think that's absolutely dope. All right, here we go. Let me keep on going through here. Thank you, Kirk. Such an inspiration, my friend. Oh, thank you. And Dr. Vibe says, thanks for the great answer. I'm glad that we're able to get you across the line. That is absolutely awesome. Definitely excited for what we got going on today. Any other questions? We just had those 2 questions and we were able to kind of showcase some different pieces there. I think it's going to be great. Listen, y'all, I want to share with you that, man, we got some new content coming up. We got some new types of content is what I really should say. So which one of these is my screen? Is it this one? Here we go. That's the one. I don't see any reason why I changed this to a circle. I'm going to change it back to custom, and we're going to make it match. Let's make it match. Oh, here we go. And we got those rounded. And this one is above, so we can put that right there and just pull this down. That feels a lot more natural to what I'm used to than that circle. I don't know why I had the circle there, but either way, we got it now, and we're gonna lock that in. Just copy that, and then we get this set up on the top-down shot as well. Don't know why. Let's get rid of this then. Put that there. And same concept. Move this way. This one's kind of locked. Let's make sure that this is. I'm going down the rabbit hole, y'all. This is just what I do. But I decided, let me just go ahead and get this right. Let's get this right. USB video. And this is, that's what we got. We got to set that to custom. And we get that about right there. Now we're good to go. And we lock them both in. And now I feel like we're in much better shape. We can get rid of that. We can get rid of that as well. Screen share. Let's get rid of that. Coaching corner sign up. Let's get that higher. And let's move that over some. About right there. Okay. So we got, I don't know, some of my scenes got kind of moved around a little bit while I was doing something. So I just decided I'm going to take a second, try and figure it out. Take a second. We're going to try and figure it out. I like that one better, actually. Let's go to this one. Yep. Let's get that one there. Get that out of there. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on these scenes that just need to go ahead and go. So we can, you guys are watching in real time as I fix some of this stuff to ensure that it's doing what I want it to do. To cancel that. No need to have that there either. All right. So here is my Amazon page that you're seeing on screen right now. Trying to get my Pro Mouse on. Let's make that a little bit bigger because, you know, it's harder to see on smaller screens. But this is the Amazon page. And one of the things that we have coming really, really soon is a video that's going to be covering both this, my mobile rig, and the desk, the mobile control desk for video production. In fact, this video will drop this coming Sunday, and just wanted to kind of make sure you guys are aware of that so that you guys can go and check that out. It's going to be pretty dope, if I say so myself, but it is a very different style of content than what you might be used to from me on this channel. So as we have been saying here, right? You never know what you can do until you try, and very few try unless you have to. Well, I'm not waiting until I have to, right? So I'm going to make sure I actually put my money where my mouth is, as they say, and get in here and test this thing out. So that's something that's going to be coming really soon, and just wanted to make sure you guys get a chance to check in with that. Let me see what we got in terms of comments. I may have missed one or two since we went through there. Oh, Miggs is on the live. What's going on with you, sir? Thank you so much for being with us today. Always good to have you. Truly appreciate you coming through. Truly appreciate you coming through. You know what else I really like about this? Let's copy those settings. Listen, this is what happens. Okay, let's unlock that. Let's see if this actually works. Paste settings. Oh yeah, I like that. Paste the settings, and that joint actually worked. Let's go back over here. Something like that. Yeah, something like that. All right, so that one seemed to work. Let's paste these settings over here too. This is what happens when you start tweaking. You start seeing all kinds of stuff, and you're just trying to figure out ways to be able to incorporate them better. Okay, so comments. You had some questions. You guys had some questions. All right, let's see what we got. Dr. Vibe says, listen, if nobody else is asking with no questions, I'm definitely going to be asking some questions. All right, so Dr. Vibe says, I have been having a challenge growing my subscriber base. Do you have any suggestions on how content creators can grow their subscriber base on YouTube? So I have a number of them, a number of suggestions. And the first of them is, oh man, let me, instead of talking about it, let me actually give you a practical example. Let me give you a practical example. All right. So I'm going to go into, let's see here. I'm trying to find something. Hopefully it helps you to answer your question very, very succinctly. Okay. James Hicks, man, it's going to be difficult to do this, but let me go back to the screen real quick. So what you're seeing right now is facebook.com. And this is actually the Ecamm community. In the Ecamm community, I should say, is a larger group of my audience. So my audience is who my audience is, and the Ecamm community is this larger base of my audience. My audience exists inside the Ecamm community. Now, the entire community is not my audience, but some of them in the community are my audience. Some of the people in the EVMux community are my audience. Some of the people in the StreamYard community are my audience. And so what I've been doing, what I do regularly, what I do on almost at least 2-3 times a week basis, I go in the community and I engage there. And so what I'm saying to you is, whoever your audience is, and this is why it's so critical. I'm starting here, but what I was going to start saying, if I answered your question immediately, I was going to say, who's your audience? Tell me who your audience is, and I'm going to tell you exactly some strategies that you can do to be able to find a way to grow your subscriber base. So my audience is a subset of the Ecamm community. So I go in the Ecamm community and I engage there. What do I mean by engage? I don't mean I go in there and I share my videos. No, I go in there and I see a post like this one from Kenny Benjamin that says, does anybody use the Osmo Pocket 3 to live stream on YouTube with Ecamm Live? If so, any tips, tricks, or things to avoid? Thank you. I like that post, and I may respond to Kenny saying, hey, I've heard that the streaming, because I don't have the Osmo Pocket 3, but people like Yolanda Bruce and others who do have it say to me that process, it works, but it is a process. And so I may even tag Yolanda and say, hey, Yolanda, talk to Kenny because he has a question, and you also have been streaming with the Osmo Pocket. You see, I didn't necessarily answer his question. I didn't necessarily share my video. All I did was engage. And what that does is it lets Kenny know, like, hey, there's a guy in the Ecamm community named Kirk. Maybe Kenny decides, let me click on Kirk. Maybe Kenny decides, let me go and see what Kirk does. Maybe Kenny sees that I'm a content creator, and maybe Kenny starts to see some of my content. And maybe Kenny shows up maybe Kenny shows up at my live show where I'm live today, and maybe Kenny starts to subscribe to my channel. What I'm saying is, you've got to find the areas or groups where your community is, where there's a larger set of people that you want to serve. Find those interest group communities that are very active, become an active member in that community. You might want to go in that community and become a moderator. You might want to go in that community and become, one of their helpers, somebody who goes in and answers questions. The best thing that can happen, I'll tell you what happened with the Ecamm community for me. One of their moderators, his name is Daniel Chi. He actually created a short link to one of my videos, because one of my videos was an answer to a frequently asked question in the Ecamm community. So what does that do? When people constantly see that one of the moderators for the group is sharing my video, they now begin to say, maybe let me just go over to Kirk's channel and subscribe. Let me just go and check and see what other kinds of answers and value and service and information and insight and tips and trips and best practices that he has that I can also glean from to be able to take what I'm doing to the next level. The point is, and I hope it's clear, you want to ensure that you are in the spaces where your community, where the people you want to serve, your target audience, already exist. You want to go to those spaces where they already are. This is why I love live streaming, because we take the value to them. They have to literally step around it when you're streaming to places like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. They've got to go around it. They don't have to come off of the beaten path to come and find your content. You're in their way. And if they search properly, YouTube algorithm will serve them up your content. So first thing I'd say to answer your question, Dr. Vibe, is if you want to grow your subscriber base, you want to grow your community, you need to be laser focused and clear on who your target audience is. Number one, you want to know, where are those areas online that I can go where I know my target audience is also hanging out, right? That's the first thing. Second thing you want to do is make sure you are understanding your analytics. Go into the YouTube analytics. Listen, watch whatever videos you need to do to bone up on understanding the data and science behind what you're experiencing or what you're seeing in your data, because your data will tell you, certain videos are not performing well. Certain videos are performing well with certain audiences. In fact, I learned recently that for a client project that there is a specific demographic of women that watch this particular podcast for this particular reason, and we didn't know. But now that we know, we've implemented some things in the podcast to speak directly to those people so that we can let them know, I see you. We are excited that you're here, and we are creating content specifically with you in mind. What that does, it reinforces what's already working, because YouTube's already suggesting your content to those people, to that particular profile. Now you're speaking to that profile. Those people, when they come across your content, they feel at home, they want to stay. So third thing I want to say, Dr. Vibe, is you want to break your content up into 3 buckets: discoverability, community, marketing. Discoverability, community, marketing. Let me say it again for those in the back. Discoverability, community, marketing. These are the 3 buckets of type. You should be able to classify all your content with these 3 buckets. And if you are saying that right now my major focus is on increasing my subscriber base, you need to be making discoverable content. Content that will get people into your ecosystem who did not know you prior. And how do you do that? You do that by trend hacking. You do that by riding the wave, by finding unique, intersections where your particular topic and value proposition is it kind of meets, or it coincides with culture. So, good friend of mine, Johnny E, he has a channel where he's serving the Haitian community, and he's teaching them how to, get their papers situated, how to migrate. He teaches them all kinds of stuff, and he does it in their native tongue. It's a beautiful channel. He knows exactly who he's serving. Well, unfortunately, there was a major thing in the news a couple weeks back where the president-elect mentioned something about the Haitian community. So for him, the trend hack was he's already serving. Oh God, I hope that you see it. He's already serving the Haitian community. That's not a tangent. He's not trying to grab at what's happening in culture. He's already serving them. So all he needed to do was say, let me reinterpret what just happened for our community. And that video goes viral. Why? Because he's plugged into the current moment, in the current scenario and season that we're in, but he's still laser focused on that community. Okay, now he's been elected. What does that mean for us? That content goes viral. Why? Because you're still very much focused on your community, but you're very much entrenched in the fabric of what is on every headline, on every major network and news station across the globe. These are the things that you want to be very much focused on. And that content, when I talk about discoverability content, you're not going to want to say things like, how we do here. You assume that the people watching, when you have to change your tone, your tense, you have to change, you've got to recognize no one knows me. Somebody messaged me the other day, was like, man, Kirk, you still telling people that you're the Geek Speaker Preacher? You still tell people how the morning motivation functions? What are we going to do in the coaching corner? We've been hearing this for weeks. I have to recognize that somebody's going to be watching for the first time. And while I love you guys, and I want you to be here, and I'm going to be speaking to you specifically, and I will shout you out in the chat like, yo, Migs has been following me for I don't know how long, right? I'm still going to shout you out. That's community content, because there is an affinity there. There's a familiarity there. But discoverability content says, you don't have a clue who I am. You have no reason to stay here. Let me ensure that I don't do anything that will send you packing. Let me ensure that you are laser clear on what we're going to do, what you're going to get, who I am, what I do. Discoverability content is very much focused on that. The person or persons who have discovered your content because you've been doing the work, you've been in the groups, you've been understanding the algorithm, you've been looking at the data, you've been looking at who you have intended to speak to and who you have been bonus speaking to, and you've incorporated that language into all that you do in your channel. Those are the things that are going to grow your subscriber base significantly. And I listen, that's a whole masterclass in and of itself. I could go further, but I just want to leave it there because I hope that gets you across the line. I hope that answers the question. 14 of you guys on the live. 9 of you have hit the like button. Thank you so much for that. And I see Dr. Vibe says, Kirk, thanks for an excellent and detailed answer on growing subscriber base. Absolutely, sir. It is my absolute pleasure. He says, I love your background music. Do you have any suggestions on where YouTube creators can get royalty-free music? I am only recommending Suno right now. Suno, is it Suno.com? Yeah, it's not AI, right? Yeah, I'm recommending Suno right now. Why I recommend Suno is because, fam, yeah, it's rough out here, and the copyright music thing is just getting hard. It's going to be harder and harder and harder and harder for us to overcome as we go on. Even Epidemic Sound, Artlist.io, all of these platforms that I used to get music from, we're getting copyrights off of those things, y'all. So it's a challenge. So the music that you're hearing in the background right now is music that I actually had commissioned, meaning I have a good friend in Maryland who makes beats, and I just simply said to him, I need about 10 beats, and he made them for me. And so those are the things that you hear in the background of my shows. You hear it kind of the volume raised when I'm playing my intro video or whatever, but that's the safest thing to do, is to actually get it commissioned or have it created by something like a Suno.com. Or if you can, like, I don't even know what else to say. It's just crazy right now when you think about how much this space has changed. I did a show for a guy who is a musician and has multiple albums, and he could not play any of his own music on his own show. This is just the reality of the world we're in. So yeah. I knew Tracy was gonna chime in. I make my music with Suno AI, and I have the paid plan, so I have the legal rights. That in my opinion is, if you can't find somebody to make the beats for you, this is a solution that will completely eliminate the whole copyright issue, at least for now. We hope. I mean, but that's my answer for today. If you had asked me months ago, I'd say, man, guys, just go ahead and get you a subscription plan for Envato or Epidemic or Artlist.io and just get the rights to that stuff and just put that out there. But can't tell you how many videos I have that have been either demonetized or whatever because I was using music from those platforms. And even though I provide the license, there's still some sharing involved or something like that. It is just a trash heap where that thing is concerned. And so I have gone away from using any kind of downloadable music. I either create it or have it commissioned by somebody to be able to make it for me. So hopefully that is helpful. So yeah, thank you. And thank you, Tracy, for chiming in. Thank you for Tracy for chiming in. All right. 17 of you guys on the live today. I see several are across different platforms. Some of you are on Facebook. Some of you are on YouTube. For my Facebook fam, like, yo, what's going on, y'all? Talk to me in the chat. I love to be able to engage with you. My YouTube family is active right around now. Tracy's following up, and she says, the free plan you have the rights to use through Suno can share it and others can use it. Okay, with the free plan, you have the rights to use it, but Suno can share it and others can use it. The paid plan means I have exclusive legal rights and even Suno can't use it. And that is the space that I am recommending. Thank you for the additional information on that, Tracy. That is what I'm recommending. I am recommending that the exclusive rights such that you can, like the music you hear playing right now, you will not hear that music on anybody else's show anywhere in the world because it was created for Kirk. Like, I actually had somebody make this beat, and I have a handful of them. I have like I said, 10 different beats. I had them made for me, so I'm not even going to bother. I'm not going to bother using anything else because you can't hear this music anywhere else. And so, just like you said, man, I like that music. Guess what? do you know that there are some people who are like, man, I couldn't get that beat out of my head and I can't hear that song anywhere else except for on your channel. That's a whole nother reason why somebody's going to come back to my channel. And that's what you want to have happen. That's the space that you want to exist in, where people are saying, I have to come to your space because your space is the only space that I get this particular experience. From the music to the flow of the show to the intentionality of engaging with comments, all of the different pieces come together to culminate and create a rich experience for not only me as the host, but everybody in the comments as end users as well, as viewers as well. All right, man, if you can believe it, we're already at 12:53. Like, we're already at 50 minutes of having been live. That is crazy to me. I did not realize that time had flown by that quickly. What I was trying to see is if there are any other questions I can quickly dive into. That question about how to increase subscribers is a question that I get often. You can notice that I was able to kind of rattle off some things very quickly. And the reason for that is, oh, it's a rough day today. I don't know what's going on with the yawns. For those that don't know, I do have a condition of iron deficiency, I should say. And so it does cause me to yawn from time to time, which some would say is a death sentence for a live streamer. Like, you can't be yawning on the live. You can't be yawning on camera. But not only do I live stream multiple times a week, I also host shows for others, and they don't care. They have gone so used to who I am and what I do and what I bring to the table. They could not care less. OTN podcast is here, says salute to the God and the squad. I want to say thank you for being with us today, sir. Always good to have you come through. And I see 604852 Cafe is here, says hello from Canada. I am table for one. Thus, this is my account I'm trying to grow. I got you. Okay, so table for one. I saw table for one came in earlier and said hello from Canada. And I think Dr. Vibe is also from Canada. And so he was kind of just saying what's up to table for one as well. I think that's dope. Love to see those connections, get made as well. Yeah. I see. Okay. OTN. I like saying OTN. I just abbreviate on their next podcast to OTN. But yes, 604852 Cafe. Thank you so much for being with us. We saw you. Was it last week? I think you were. Yeah, you've been on before. I definitely have seen your handle on before. So definitely, always good to have you come through and hang out. Any questions? I want to, while you guys are getting your questions together, I want to say this. In the lead in, I was talking about you never know what you can do until you try, and very few try unless you have to. I've shared this before. There's an entire upheaval right around now. And I see your question, Doc Bashar. I'm going to get to it just now. There's an entire upheaval right around now about which streaming platform to go to. I was responding to a question on a comment on a video earlier today. One of my videos. It was a video where I was going over EVMux, and the person clearly, just based on their comment, they had just transitioned over to EVMux from StreamYard, and they were asking why, how do I do this and this and this? Because this is the way that I'm used to from StreamYard. Of course, the person knows that I use both, and so they were using language that just kind of assumed that we already were familiar with how it is done in StreamYard. And now, of course, being in EVMux, it's different. And I was just saying to her, here's how I kind of translate between the two. Here's how I'm getting over that hurdle, because it is different, and that is a real thing. But then I went on to say, EVMux is not StreamYard. It isn't. And so rather than trying to make it fit what your preference is, why not give it a real chance on its own? Like, try it out in the way it was intended to be used. Like I was saying, pro scenes are not in StreamYard. Now you're on EVMux. You have the ability to go into pro scenes, and you can create an experience and create a scenario where you don't have to keep going and clicking on stuff. Because that one of the features she was talking about is something that StreamYard had, but you have to go in and click on every one of them. And I'm just like, man, just build a scene, add, what you want there, and then you set it and forget it. If you ever want that particular message, so sorry, and that particular thing to be on screen, you just click on that scene and you're good to go. What does this have to do with C.S. Lewis's quote? If you don't know what you can do or what you will like until you try it. And very few try unless you have to. And so both components in that quote specifically speak towards those who are in this period of transition. If you're going to check out another platform, then give it a fair try. Check it out without looking at it through the lens of anyone else or anything else. It is difficult to go and date someone and constantly say to them, well, you don't do it like my last boyfriend or my last girlfriend. That is impossible. They are a completely different person. So date them for them. And in this case, use the platform for who it is, for what it is, and get to know it. Its quibbles, its quirks. None of them are perfect. I want to be clear. And then you can decide what things you can live with, what things you can't. And the last piece is, very few try unless they have to. Most people did not have another streaming platform in their pocket because they put all their eggs into the one basket. And now that, that basket has been turned over, they find themselves out in the marketplace scrambling, trying to find what's the best thing for me to go to. They're only trying because now they have to. And that's what C.S. Lewis is saying. I don't want to be in a scenario. I don't care this is just a microcosm. If you've never used StreamYard before and you're not in the marketplace to look for something else because you don't care about the price hike, I get it. I'm saying anonymize it and look at your life. There are areas that you have gotten so comfortable. Like, this is just the way that it is. This is what I'm used to. And you haven't even looked out to see anything else. I'll give you one last example. I know, I know, Doc Bashar, I owe you an answer. I'm going to get to it. I recently got the new Mac Mini, the smaller one, the M4. And so that's what's powering my desk now. The Mac that I had here, the M1 Mac Mini, is now downstairs and it's serving a different purpose. It's kind of our media server for the house. We play our videos off of it. The other one, the older one, was so old I could not update it to later versions of Mac OS. And so there's a lot of things that I had just kind of, made work. I'd completely forgotten that I was using a outdated version of the software that I use. I use Plex, for those that aren't aware. I completely forgotten that all these different pieces that I had to kind of rubber band and chewing gum and duct tape together to make that old computer work. I'd forgotten that I didn't need any of that stuff. So when I used the machine that I had here downstairs, I could actually set it up in the best way possible. And I began to say, you know what, let me throw out my entire process of what I had done before. Let me look at what's currently available with a blank slate and see how would I build out this media server today with no limitations. That's how we have to approach things. And we don't want to get to a space where you are forced into that scenario. You want to plan into your regular everyday life, into your regular everyday movements, times and rhythms where you are testing, you're trying, you're doing things that maybe push you and stretch you and make you a little uncomfortable, so that you can know that this is my thing, or this is my thing, or this is what I like. Man, I don't like that. You only get to know that if you have tried something. Okay, back to the comments. We have a question from Dr. Bashar. I see several of you chiming in. Cafe says, yes, I was here last week. I have the Music Cafe channel trying to upcycle my music from Prism Live Studio with my super old laptop. I use StreamYard and do on my phone in the show. There we go. Thank you so much for catching us all up. I thank you for that. I remember completely now. All right, Doc Bashara has a question, says, I'm definitely looking to join the warehouse in the near future. Do we learn how to produce shows like this in there? What goes on in the 336 chamber? So the answer to your question is yes And yes, I have a course on remote production. I have a course on live video strat. There's a couple of different resources in the warehouse that you gain access to when you join, but you also have a monthly meetup. Every month you have a meetup that first Fridays, I call it. So first Friday of the month, we meet up and we talk about our goals, whatever it is that you need. And so some of the things that I do in the warehouse are going to be based on what the members have asked for. So here's an example. Two people in the warehouse said, hey, we're really trying to, up our video editing game. So what I do, brought in a video editor and we did a video editing essentials class in the warehouse just for members so that they could have the benefit of that person's experience and expertise. That's what I do in the warehouse. So if you come in the warehouse and one of your things is, I want to learn how to produce shows like this, rest assured that will be on the agenda very soon, right? Because that's how I see myself in the warehouse, as the person who's basically, I have been empowered by your membership and your financial support to be able to bring resources in or create those resources myself so that you can have the information you need to get across the line. And every member also gets a one-on-one session per year. I've got one scheduled with Tracy right after Thanksgiving. Is that right? Yeah, right after Thanksgiving. So I'm excited about that, Tracy. So, but yeah, every member gets a one-on-one session per year. Coaching clients, my existing coaching clients, they're at a different tier in terms of what they are paying. So if you're a coaching client, you get the warehouse as part of your coaching subscription. The top subscription is coaching. The mid-tier subscription is the Workers Warehouse. And then the bottom tier subscription is here on YouTube. And every one of them have, different levels of, I guess, behind the veil things that we are able to provide. And again, it's because you have done the financial support that enables us to be able to serve in that way. So hopefully that makes sense, Doc Bashara. And I'd love to be able to chat with you further about that. If you want to just grab some time on the calendar, maybe 15 minutes on the calendar to be able to kind of chat through what are some of the other things that are there. But I mean, honestly, we're constantly adding, and I've got some really dope stuff coming in the new year. One of them is a signature program that I will be doing, quarterly in a cohort fashion that is going to go through live video strategy. And it's going to deal with some of what you're talking about. I don't know why my chair keeps on going down. It's going to deal with how to produce a live show like this, but also how to create a content strategy that achieves your goals. So it's not my goals, your goals. And this is why coaching is one of the top tier things. And it's one of the most highly sought after things that I offer, because for many people, it isn't going to be cookie cutter. It's not going to be something that you find in a generic course. Your goals are very specific to your channel and the people that you want to serve. And so that's an area that most, we want to make sure that we're able to kind of get people across the line. So how do we craft a content strategy that helps you reach your goals? That is the signature experience that we're working on. Workers Warehouse members are going to be part of the first to be able to have access to that. And we'll always have the ability to go through any of the components and modules of that particular experience. So hopefully that gives you a broad idea of some of the things that we have available in the warehouse. And if we need to jump on and do stuff and answer questions, we have this whole Facebook type community in the warehouse that we are constantly engaging with one another. So I'm excited to hear that, Doc Bashara. It's music to my ears that you are actually thinking about joining the Workers Warehouse. I don't talk about that often enough. I probably should. So definitely. But I just want to say a word of thanks to you for bringing that up and having that as a question for us to be able to close out with today. That was dope. But hopefully we got you across the line and answer your questions. Man, listen, fam, it's been real. It's been fun. It's been really, really fun. It is 1:07 here in the Central Time Zone. The Lord's Time Zone is what I call it. It's your boy, Kirk Nugent. I absolutely love the coaching corner. Like real talk. I have in my notes right here in front of me that I'm supposed to say to you next week. We will probably not have the coaching corner because I'll be traveling to Maryland to be with family for the Thanksgiving holiday. And I have that in the note right here, but in my mind, I'm thinking, I could probably still go live. And because people will be traveling and people will be, in different spaces, maybe they may not watch because they'll be with family, but then maybe they will watch because they'll be with family. I don't know. So stay tuned. If you see a live scheduled for next Wednesday, it's because I decided it doesn't matter that I'm away from the home studio. I'm still going to go live. But if you don't see one, it's because I decided, it's just way too hectic, or maybe I can't even find a quiet space to be able to go live. And so I'm not going to bother doing the live show, but I may end up doing it. It ain't gonna take nothing but my phone and a little lapel on a mic to get it done. And maybe I just do it vertical. I don't know, but I may end up doing it. I feel like we're gonna have the coaching corner next week. I really love this space. I really love it. I really enjoy being able to engage with you guys in this way, to be able to answer your questions, hopefully to be able to get you unstuck, and to be able to really hear some of your wins, some of the things that you're doing, some of the things you're implementing that are moving the needle and allowing you to take even just one step to get closer to your goals. Oh man. Yeah. Here's a comment from 604-852 Cafe. I'm transitioning my music cafe to include more content about Canadian current events and health knowledge while doing live music. Got to make sure you find a very unique way to stack those. You want to find the nexus of those things, the nexus of Canadians, health issues, maybe health issues that Canadians face, and how music interacts with the health issues that Canadians face. You see what I just did there? So you got to find ways to be able to stack that so that they're all related, and it doesn't just become, I did a video on music, I did a video on current events, I did a video on Canadians. It becomes disjointed at that point, and you will start to fragment your audience and confuse them in terms of what this channel is all about. You want to make sure that focus is still very much there, and you want to make sure you stack them together and make it very clear, because when you stack your interests like that, you create a micro niche, and in creating a micro niche, you become the expert because nobody else is speaking to that particular audience. And so this is something that I do in coaching as well. I see your second comment. I like your motivation live, really helpful. Thank you. And I thank you for sharing that. Listen, you didn't have to. So I don't take any of it for granted today. Truly dope that we have you with us today. It's been an awesome time hanging out. I'm going to get out of your way. This has been another edition of the Coaching Corner. With your boy Kirk Nugent, your cousin, your nephew, your uncle, whatever you want to call me. The Geek Speaker Preacher. Thankful for your time, your attention, your comments, and your questions, and your interaction. And we will see you around these internet streets or in the next video. Grace and peace, fam.